Morning everyone, welcome back. It is AJ back, 22 after 10 in the morning. Obviously you can see the daylight, right? So it's AJ back. For the record, it is the 27th day, Saturday, September the 25th. So in this video I just want to give a quick basically a chronicle of the events and the facts of what is happening with the case of the accused, right? A.K. Ahmed Jr., right? So this has been ongoing since the 17th day of 2023. That's where basically the epoch, basically zero. This is the origin of all the events that transpired after up until this present moment. So we are now the 27th day of September 2025. So September today is the 27th, right? 2025, and we're talking from the first event and occurrence that took incidence place on the 17th day of November 2023. So basically I had essentially been assaulted by Gatineau police. They gave me 3 charges: break and enter mischief, assault. I go to the court motion, so this would be considered primary ground, and then secondary charges. So primary charges and secondary charges. So essentially I have been taken to police headquarters on Gerber, Gatineau headquarters police station over there, and I was released something around maybe 7:30, close to 8 o'clock in the evening, and I had been given a promissory note. So basically an undertaking to appear before the court for my first court date, which was set for the 15th of March 2024. So this was 17th day of November 2023. I was given the first date for the trial with the 3 criminal charges. Remember, indictable offenses. I would be going to the jail, to the slammer, on allegation of criminal charges. Now, so I go on the 15th of March 2024. Now, a week previous to that, part of that promissory note as well, I was supposed to go back to the same police station and volunteer my fingerprints, right, for allegedly committing no crime, but I have to go there and volunteer. So obviously I had no reason to go to the police station. I'm not a criminal. I have been wrongly done. I sustained undue bodily harm, right? So they cracked my tooth. It broke, right, from the very bottom, right, of the visible part, right here, cracked. And that's due to the excessive force that as the police officers trying to approach me, before even trying to understand the situation. And remember, they are the cops. They are the trained professionals that they have to handle all walks of life. And here I am in the city of Gatineau, and I'm being approached by 2 Gatineau police do not speak English. They simply come at me, and without any warning, so to speak. Before you know it, I'm on the ground, on the ceramic. My head, excessive force with the kneecap on top of my head, resulted in the crack and break of my tooth. These are my teeth, right? Natural. So basically I got to my court appearance on the 15th of March, and I'm now given a disclosure, right? So you're gonna go through the court motion. There's a reason why they have basically a summon, and for you to appear before the court, there are things. Now basically I go to the first court appearance on the 15th of March, and here I am receiving this disclosure, and essentially I'm told to come back on the 2nd of May to choose and elect my court type, because when you are under the criminal code in Canada and the Constitution, the moment you are being charged with a criminal offense, you have the automatic right for a public trial with a jury. That is basically asserting your constitutional rights and legal rights. That is Section 11. And as a Canadian, you would have, or not just Canadian, as a human being, right? You would basically be you have the right for a fair and a public trial, because again, this is matter is a criminal in nature, and it could result in your indictment, which basically you go to jail for some time. It all depends on the offense and the punishment thereof. So I go to the May 2nd date, and here I am standing. This is court number, I believe it was court room number 6, and I appear before justice on the 2nd of May 2024, and at that point basically I decide and I'd like to go for a public trial with a jury, and part of that basically I'm given a public inquiry option. Well, I do need a public inquiry because now there's a chance for me to basically cross-examine it and go through the facts and the evidence from the Crown prosecutor point of view, as well as the testimony of the police officers. Because remember, your issue is not with the police personal, it's the Crown is pushing the charges, and the onus is on the Crown to keep you in jail. So they have nothing on me, and I was released the very first day on the 17th of day of November 2023. I'm being going through the court motion. First court appearance March 15. I get the disclosure May 2nd. I elect for my public trial with the jury. Now I'm requesting a public inquiry, and I was given a date for July the 2nd 2024. All right, only 4 days prior, so on the 28th of June 2024, I received communication correspondence from appears to be the court and in Quebec, and essentially it's all in French. I don't speak French, so I take that and I put it into Google Translate, and the gist of it basically is that as I requested a public inquiry with the parties involved as well as the witness, because remember, if you are when the cops are called to the scene, there has to be a primary reason, and a primary ground for that was the count number 1 of primary allegation of breaking into a mischief. Now, on the 2nd of July, basically that was postponed because suddenly the officers in questions, as well as the person first, right? They no longer wishes to testify against me in court, and the officers suddenly are nowhere to be found. They are away. Okay, no problem. We can wait. So now again, I follow through and I go to my 2nd of July court date, and just to confirm, because you cannot just rely on the so-called corrupt memory and fabrication of evidence and lies of the judiciary system at this point. So I go to July 2nd date, and sure enough, it's been postponed till the 16th of August 2024. Hallelujah. Now I'm going to my through my court motion, and on the 16th of August 2024 I appear for the court, and I remember this was supposed to be a public inquiry, not a trial, and suddenly now there's a trial happening because I appeared at 10 o'clock. So somehow my court proceeding was set for 9 o'clock in the morning, but I've been always going to the courthouse time and time again, and I never get to speak at the very time they are saying you're self-represented. You're waiting till way after the first morning session, so around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock you get to actually speak as a self-represented concerning your matter. So here I am. I go to the courthouse. Finally I figure out it's court number 8, room number 8, and this is on the 16th of August 2024. So we can get a record transcript, and I did at one point, but they only give me the last a few minutes, which I have now to basically request a copy of the entire record from 9 o'clock in the morning till basically the end of the proceeding, court hearing, which roughly took 2 hours, between 9 till like 11ish, past 11, so 2 hours, 2 hours and a little bit. And during that court proceeding, which to my understanding should have been nothing but a public inquiry, but no, apparently it was a trial in motion, and they were essentially alleging that since the accused was not allowed in until past 11 o'clock, well, now I'm allowed in. There's a motion by the Crown, and the Crown basically says, well, we are bringing a motion before the court. Remember, I'm inside now. I'm inside the courthouse at around 11 o'clock or so, and the Crown prosecutor basically she's dropping the charges. So okay, which charges? Primary charges, which is basically count number 1 for the record, breaking into a mischief. So now these are the primary grounds. Now normally, and in good faith, and so far we have been going through the court motion, and I have been requesting to get a public inquiry and public trial with the jury, only for me to be thrown back in and without my consent being tried in a lower court, and court number room number 8. Okay, so why are we doing this? Nonetheless, so now they're dropping the primary charges, but suddenly the secondary charges by default should be dropped, because again, when you drop the primary, the secondary has no ground. Like, you just drop everything. But no, now they have a second motion. So the motion number 1 is to drop primary charges, and now they have a second motion, and essentially is to go from section blah 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 to section blah blah blah, verbatim. Like, I didn't understand a word the Crown prosecutor said. Not because it's rocketry, you don't understand. No, it's because it's legally, and they have a fiduciary duty to basically explain to you in layman English term what exactly that means. Now remember, when the primary grounds are dropped, you're innocent, and if you're innocent, why do you have to agree to anything else but dropping the charges fully? So now, the judge looks at me, and the residing judge, and she asked if I had any questions. I said, yes, absolutely, what exactly this mumbo jumbo? And basically, she goes around, dances around the pole, saying, oh, this is why it's a complicated matter. It's not complicated, just say it. So basically, she tells me, well, we go from indictable offense to basically summary conviction, which essentially is a distinction. And you go from indictable offense, where you spend time in jail. Remember, break and entry, mischief, and assault. Now they drop one, and then these two are now going back to summary conviction. Why? Offense. I did nothing wrong. If anything, you resulted in undue bodily harm, cracked tooth, which basically fell off about a week or so ago when I was in Hull Detention Center, right? We're getting to that. We're getting there. So now basically I look at the judge and I say, no, I do not consent. I demand a public trial with the jury. So that's when the judge tells the Crown prosecutor, motion dismissed, I need a court date for the Superior Court of Justice. So now suddenly, the Crown prosecutor, which normally go to the courthouse, not even the judge, not even the administrative staff, let alone the Crown prosecutor that is pushing allegation, right, against the accused. Suddenly, she is in the position to offer unsolicited and illicit legal advice that the accused, she now has the recommendation. We recommend your honor. That's what she says. The recommendation is that, the accused agrees to the lesser charges as to not to affect his, criminal record. What the fuck? I have zero criminal record. I have nothing to fear. I'm innocent. And why do I have to deal with you and agree to lesser charges and plead guilty for things I have not committed? I have sustained undue bodily harm, right? Not to mention the fact that you had to treat me in an inhumane way and, keep me locked up, and then, I was unable to make a single phone call, right? Why? I have to call a lawyer? Well, here I am. I'm representing myself. I demand to talk to my immediate family. So, we can go through the court motion. If I need to be released, well, there's a process for that. And, at the end of the day, the Crown prosecutor has to talk to a duty counselor who is basically retained and hired and consented by you, right, the accused, because at the end of the day, you have the power of attorney for your bodily autonomy, right? You are the sole chief executive of your legal estate, right? Which legal estate? Well, you have a name. Capital, first name, last name, capital. That is your legal estate, which you have a date of birth, national birth record, right? And essentially, you are a natural person. So, under the Constitution of Canada, the charter, right, which is nothing but a bylaw, operates under a trust, under a trust law framework. So, the trust and a contract. And it is very simple that, part 1, essentially the charter, as we know it in Canada, it proceeds, and basically the Constitution, number 1 objective is to safeguard and protect the unalienable or unmutable, right, natural, fundamental natural rights and freedom, which are integral to the, well-being and basically quality of life of every single, human and animals alike. So essentially, I had gone to the court, and yes, I was gonna set date on the 10th of September 2024. Hallelujah! Going to the court motion. Now, what happened? Interestingly, so this is my kind of matter how it all started in the corrupt and unlawful, province of Quebec, and the Gatineau police and what have you, the whole shenanigan, right? So now, I'm going about my life waiting for my set trial date on the 10th of September 2024. A week after, so this was the 16th of August, remember. So now, about a week after, on the 24th of August 2024, right, I'm pulled over by Ottawa Police Services cruiser. And then, it's a customary traffic stop. I've been here for 25 years. I first landed in Canada in 1999, October 26. I've been driving since 2000. 3, my first G1, I believe, the abstract, which again, I have a record, 0 at fault accident, 0 criminal record, and here I am being stopped for an allegation, driving with a suspended driver license. No problem. I mean, but it wasn't like that. It wasn't like the cop showed up. Good evening. How are you, sir? Where about you're going? We are stopping you for the reason ABC. No, just right away breach into my jurisdiction. Right? Opens. I'm pulled over now. I'm about to grab my my identification, which is my passport at this point, because I hold my passport at the back of my car, and my guitar bag, I keep it there secure and safe. Right? And then basically, before you know it, the stooge officer, right, peace officer by the name of Yusuf Omar, right, he goes and right away opens my car, breaches into my jurisdiction, tries to grab me from my seat as I basically like I'm there trying to figure out my paperwork, because well, they're gonna ask for a driver license registration and what have you, right? They have to go through, identify the person driving before they grab that person out of the car, alleging that, oh, you're under arrest. Why am I being under arrest? For what reason? You have no jurisdiction to even arrest me without a prior lawful court order, a search warrant. So now guy breaches in, tries to drag me out. Obviously, I resist, and I say, what are you doing? He's like, oh, you're under arrest. I'm like, well, I laugh. I'm like, what for? Oh, suspended driver license. I laugh again. I'm like, well, you can't do that. I'm a citizen of the land. So now he's like, oh, well, we're trying to reach to the back. Well, no shit. Aren't you gonna ask me for ID? The guy looks at me with googly eyes. So basically, I'm like, well, if you allow me, let me just show you my passport. So here I am. I open the back door on the driver's side, obviously, and the passenger door on the driver's side in the back, and I reach to my guitar bag and I produce my passport, which I no longer have. I had with me up until the 13th of September, just this past couple of weeks. I had it with me, right, until it was seized and taken away from me without my consent and not returned. So now basically, I'm placed into this compromised basically position. I'm put, I'm handcuffed. I'm put behind my car, 1999 Volkswagen Passat, a V6 2.8 liter, right? I've had that car since 2018, right? It's my car, it's my vehicle, my mobile car to go from point A to point B, right? This is pursuit of life and happiness and mobility, and I'm a Canadian. I did nothing wrong. There's no reason for me to feel that I cannot even drive my vehicle on certain roads or certain hours, right? Or what for? I didn't get the memo. If there's any sort of like curfews that emergency nationwide, suddenly now I'm basically being searched, I'm being handcuffed, I'm being tapped, I'm thrown into the back of the cruiser, all unlawful, breaking every single code. I had no reason to be treated the way you treated me. I mean, you verified that I'm a citizen. You should just let me please have a seat, verify what I have, and the best you can do is give me a ticket, right? Because on my suspended driver license, well, there's Highway Traffic Act. Now, after 40 minutes, I had been in the cruiser for 20 minutes. They've been doing their own search for 20 minutes, and then they came back to basically speak with me more and write their report, fuckery report, so-called, and essentially, I demanded take me to the headquarters. I will talk to the chief. Oh no, you don't want to go there. It's not fun. Why would you want to go to the slammer? Well, because you are unlawfully, stopping me. First of all, I identified, and there's no reason for you to do what you're doing. But I get to be released. So now they're releasing me with two offenses, right? So they're about to basically, give me the two offenses. I had already grabbed the keys, and I just made sure my car was locked. And I came back. I shook hands with the two officers, right, that were involved in the incident. And they're about to handing me the two offenses. One is for suspended driver license, as the guy is talking, and the other one is because they found not even less than 4 grams of cannabis. Suddenly now I'm being told that, oh, you have unlawful transportation under the Cannabis Act. What unlawful? I buy my shit from all the time from a government certified store. I can buy up to 1 ounce, which is 28 grams, and I didn't have more than 4 grams on me, which you stole, right? No problem. Take it, no problem, but with my consent. Now, basically, I'm let go. As I shake the hand and they're about to serve me those two offenses, I flip the bird and I keep walking because I don't consent. I have no reason to consent to bullshit allegation. Now, before I had left on foot, because remember, I cannot drive my vehicle. I have a suspended driver license, but I do have a valid insurance liability. And for that reason, the cops tell me, oh, we're not going to tow your vehicle. You can come back within the hour and your vehicle will be on the road. Just make sure you have a friend or a family member that with a valid driver license that basically can essentially, get your vehicle off the road. Okay, great. No problem. So now I come back within 20 minutes. Why? Because I had just been on foot and, before you know it, I come across this man with his back, to me, and he's walking a dog, and I figured, the guy's looking down on his phone. I just want to make a phone call. I had left my phone in the car. So as the person turns, I recognize that man is my friend from university, he's also in the disclosure. He was identified in the disclosure. So he will be coming as a witness. I did nothing wrong. So now we're coming back 20 minutes later. He had to go upstairs and, put his dog upstairs, basically, and he came down with a cup of water for me, and he's also married to my best friend from Carlton days, right? And as we were back to the scene, this happened all within 20 minutes. I see, a tow truck, so to speak, from a distance, from far, and a flashlight. So I'm thinking, well, better not be for my vehicle, because here I am. I got a promise from the police officer, the peace officer, that I can come back within the hour and pick up my vehicle. So I'm back, only for me to find out that yes, indeed, that tow truck flatbed was for my vehicle, and the police cruiser was in essentially a T-bone position. So my car was parked on the side of the road on Parkdale, near 200, near the Polish embassy and what have you. So I was on Scott, turning left on Parkdale. Anyways, and then basically when I had gone and came back, my car is on the sidewalk, and the police cruiser is in a T-bone position, ready to basically drive. If well, why would I do that? I came back with a friend. I had given my car keys to my friend, and just asked my friend, if he could just simply take off and drive my car off the main road to. He happens to be living in the area, so well, great. I can go visit and check on him. And his he had been newlywed, and I haven't seen him and his wife for a long time. Perhaps we could have a good catch up, right? So we could have a good coffee chat and catch up and see what's happening. Anyways, come back, and then clearly there's this tow truck driver by the name of Jalal. I found out this information after the whole incident took place and transpired. So here I am. There's basically back and forth between me and the tow truck driver. Why? Because my keys suddenly now is on the hood. I cannot force my friend to come and drive the car. I mean, especially if there's a commotion with the law enforcement, the auto police services, that is, and I'm not going to force anyone to do things outside their will. So he came, and fortunately he was there, and I'm grateful because he was there, and we took there's a recording. I have 2 videos of the day the incident took place. 2 videos, very graphic, very vulgar, because this is what happens after you taser somebody. Why did I get tasered? The question. So as I'm going back and forth with this tow truck driver, which he had no authorization, no consent, and no lawful search warrant or seizure for them to take my vehicle off the road. It was the officer just 20 minutes prior to that telling me that you can come back and have your car driven by a family member or a friend with a valid driver license. I come back only for them to be breaching their own trust, perhaps because they don't like a man to stand and assert for his constitutional and fundamental unalienable natural rights and freedom, which are safeguarded by the Constitution, right? I mean, why are we in Canada? Why are you applying why are you in the city, driving cars around, if not for the, maintaining the peace? And again, now you are coming at me with basically prejudice, right? Where discrimination, clearly, I had just been told you are not going to take the car. Suddenly, I come back within 20 minutes and the car is being about to be towed. Well, I'm contesting unlawful seizure, unlawful arrest. Of course, I'm going to be smart about, like I said, not every battle is fought or worth fighting. So I'm not going to be fighting the cops. What I did, I called 911. Now, basically, within all these 2 minutes, basically, I'm speaking with the tow truck driver, demanding that he returns my keys and my property, and the cops had no reason, and the tow truck to basically seize my vehicle. I had came back as promised within the hour, to drive my car off the road with a friend of mine who has a valid driver license. So now basically I'm calling 911. Before you know it, basically I was about to be apprehended and arrested. I was arrested unlawful arrest because again, you're breaking the law. So here I am. I'm running I'm running towards the OPP, right? Because this whole thing happened within 2 minutes, and as the auto police tried to apprehend me and arrest me, well, I did not consent, and there I am. I was basically going the opposite direction, and that's where I basically hear the siren, and as I'm running towards the OPP, basically I get shot, tasered, neutralized. Unharmed man. They had already gone through the tap and the search and everything. I had nothing on me. Why are you going to use excessive force? Simply because now I'm going to basically, request that the OPP do the right job and basically release my vehicle. You have no consent. No, but now the person making the distress call, the man making the distress call, gets to be tasered. So I fall on the ground, and for a split second I thought I could have been dead. I thought I was dead. Like, everything went black. Everything was like for a sub-second. Like, I could not hear, feel nothing, right? And suddenly when my senses came back to me, like consciousness, I could start hearing sounds and what have you. All I see is the cops dragging me to the side of the walk, and here I was basically placed into a handcuffed position. And you see the video where the back and forth had taken place, and now they're alleging that, oh, maybe we should get an ambulance. I don't need no ambulance. I don't consent. I'm perfectly fine. Then one of the cops is insinuating that, oh, do you need some sort of medication? Like, who the fuck are you? Last I checked, you're a fucking schmuck going outside the rule of the law, and now you're trying to justify your fuckery, right, by tasering someone who is harmless, unarmed, nothing, right? Oh, well, you just tasered the man. Try hitting a dog 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. What happens to your hand? You can go try that. But if you're the stooge, if you're the corrupt, right, the corrupt asshole cop that basically is going outside the rule of the law, piggybacking on, oh, well, you're not the law. Fuck off. You are in breach of trust. That's what you just did. You're in breach of trust. And I told them that straight up. And they know. I'm suing their asses one by one. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, when I do something wrong and I have to go through court motion and prove my innocence thereof, or pay the fine, whatever that I have to pay a fine, if it's a provincial highway traffic act ticket or what have you, well, I'm going through the motion. So now essentially, after all the commotion, basically they proceed into unlawfully stealing my vehicle, and essentially I'm now being transferred to Ottawa headquarters at Elgin, right? I go there, and again, I'm in the slammer. I demand to see the chief as I speak to the Sergeant Rose, and the guy is like, he's livid. Like, he's like, I'm well versed, because as they go back and forth now, I'm in the cell block, and they're going back and forth trying to get my fingerprints. I do not consent. I do not consent to any fingerprints. But now they have to send Hezbollah, right? This fucking Lebanese asshole, right, with tattoos and coming at me. I just seen the guy, Gabriel Pizza. I'm in the community. I'm a regular at the pizzeria right here at South Keys, right, Hunt Club and Bang. So this guy is basically coming with his macho Hezbollah attitude, right? And then he wants me to basically, give fingerprints, willy-nilly. So again, I'm inside the cell block. I don't want to be subject to more, abuse and police brutality. I had just survived a taser attack, attempted murder, assassination. I mean, people die. I mean, with that, it's a high-energy weapon. And auto police, cannot carry those. You have to be, let alone a junior police officer to have a taser and just, shooting people left, right, center. And in the disclosure, suddenly it was one of the cops who I have been running away from shooting the taser. How is that possible when I'm running towards the police, the OPP, and the OPP is facing me and I get shot in my hand and my chest? How is that someone who's behind me is going to shoot the taser? And again, there's a lot of things that we can talk about. And, well, whoever shot the taser is liable. Whoever made the unlawful arrest is liable. Whoever has made the unlawful order to keep me incarcerated and detained without a just cause is liable. You are breaking every single code in the book. Civil code, right? Criminal code, that is, that's what you cite people. There's section 19 of the very same code, RSC 1985, CC 46, which is the ignorance of the law. If you're ignorant of your own rules and regulation, it's on you. It's not on me to stand and assert my, fundamental, unalienable natural rights and freedom. So here I am, basically in the slammer, and now when I'm in the slammer, my sister had showed up because I had got a hold of my sister. I told my friend Buria to make the call, and my sister was alerted. My father is old and my mom is old, and their health does not really permit them to go and chase the legal system and figuring out the process to actually get their child, right, or their son out. I'm not a child. I'm a child to my father and my mother, yes, but I'm an adult. I'm a grown-ass male, right? Entrepreneur, engineer, class 2009, aerospace electronics, system design, engineering at Carleton University with over 15 years plus experience in the high tech, right? Canada Park, right here. Telecom, automotive, semiconductor, drones, IoT, hardware product development, you name it, right? So here I am, basically, and as they get me this duty counselor, his name is Ahmed Hamza, right? Again, for the record, and the guy is talking to me, tells me, oh, AJ, right? My name is Ahmed Jr., AJ, the Crown Prosecutor in Quebec, right? Instructing the Crown Prosecutor in Ottawa to keep the accused, right? Myself, the subject, right? Detained for 30 straight days from the 25th of August. I got sworn in all the way to the 25th of September 2024. Why? Remember, it was the same Crown Prosecutor that on the 16th of August, right, were basically dropping the charge, number one, primary charges, and they were trying to basically, coerce me into accepting basically summer conviction, right, charges, which clearly I'm innocent. And I was given a set date on the 10th of September 2024. No shit. Now you got your chance and your bad faith again to keep an innocent man with charges that have been dropped. Primary charges have been dropped in a previous court hearing in Quebec regarding a matter that has nothing to do with Ottawa. And as far as I'm concerned, I've been not convicted, so I have a clear record. So why is it now suddenly my matter in Quebec matters in Ottawa, and the Crown Prosecutor in Ottawa receiving instruction from the Crown Prosecutor in Quebec to keep me incarcerated without a just cause? They know they did the wrong thing. So by not only just stopping me and trying to search me and handcuff me and throw me in the back of the cruiser only to release me, only for me to come back and trying to retrieve my vehicle as promised, as told by the very officers that they were handing me the two offenses, one being Highway Traffic Act, suspended driver license, and the other one was unlawful transportation of cannabis. Of course, I did not receive those two offenses. I left, right? I left on foot, and I came back, and that's what transpired when essentially I got tasered and what have you, right? So now I'm on the cell block in Ottawa, and now there's the duty counselor is telling me, oh, AJ, the Crown Prosecutor in Ottawa received instruction from the Crown Prosecutor in Quebec not to release you. Why? I'm innocent. This is discrimination. This is prejudice, systemic, right? Social profiling, and look, man, the list goes on. A clear violation of my fundamental unalienable natural rights and freedom, which are safeguarded by the Constitution. So now, basically, I have to comply with Allah's order, because at the end of the day, this Phoenician guy, right? He doesn't reason. He is a schmuck. There's a reason why he's a constable. He's not even an officer. Special constable, probably, with a blue, right? Like the lowest grade you can be, possibly, right? Because remember, provincial police, they wear the pants with the red stripe, whereas the city of Ottawa, they wear the pants with the blue stripes because they are municipal. Then you have the provincial, which wears basically red, and then you have the federal, which wear basically the golden or yellow stripe, because that's RCMP for you. And this is essentially what we're doing, like municipal, provincial, supreme law of the land. So yeah, and then essentially, I got to stay in jail until the 29th of August, where I was released on basically bail, right? Their plan backfired, and for the 6 days back and forth, I'm going through the slammer. I had been basically transferred to NS Road, where basically Ottawa Carleton Detention Center for Adults is, and for the the next few days from the 25th to the 29th, I'm going back and forth, requesting that I be self-represented. But no, now I have to be forced into signing a duty counselor release bail or bail release condition, which my mom was a surety for, and there were some 4 conditions. So to curfews, basically from 10 o'clock or 22 till 6 in the morning, so 10 evening till 6 in the morning. I must remain at my mom's address, which she lives at a city housing, community housing, right? I have my own property. I have my own condominium that I had basically first got in 2007 April. I'm the landlord. I have the title. So why do I have now to go and live with my mother in a building that is full of it's a really shitty building, 2651 Regina Street. My mom no longer lives there, and this is why we're sitting here on the retreat, because AJ moved my mother December 2024, and we are now here almost. Was it 2000? I have to double check. I think it was last year, December 2024, if I recall, and it was Kyle, my tenant, that had basically helped me with the move to get my mom's stuff from my condo to where she is right now, and some of the stuff, because she moved from Regina and we got here, and she had some stuff that I had to stop at my house to basically get. So yeah, I have a very good recollection of the facts and the events, and fundamentally you are now in breach of trust, because when I go through the court motion, right, as I got released on the 29th of August on a release bail, right, bail release conditions, curfew, stay with my mom, bear no arms. I had no arms. First of all, I had my guitar. Last I checked, it's not a weapon of mass destruction. It's just a guitar, an instrument. You play music, right? And then the fourth one was for me to appear in person. So I did appear in person on the 17th of September. Remember, the 10th of September, my court matter in Quebec was cancelled. So now I'm on the 17th of September in Ottawa. I had already made a request for a bail release variation. So basically, when you are let out, you can always go back and contest or appeal the order, especially if you believe it's unlawful order. So, and that's what I did, only for my basically form to be denied, and by the Crown. Well, the Crown have no jurisdiction. So going through the court motion, I go to the second date now. So September 17th, I show up. I actually was taken to jail the very same day, because now suddenly there's a revoked surety and there's a bench warrant that has to be executed, and I must be taken to jail before I show up next day for yet another bail condition hearing. Right? Why? I have been released on the 12th of December 2024 by Justice of the Peace without any conditions, zero conditions. And this has been the third time around, because the first time was my mother. When I requested my mom, I instructed my mom to revoke her surety, because again, I don't want to implicate my mother, and she's old, and she needs my care, and she's at the age does not permit her to go and stay in a long court proceeding. So I tell my mom to go and revoke her surety on the 6th of September, and that's what she did. And from the 6th of September 2024 till my first court appearance in Ottawa on the 17th day of September 2024, guess what? I'm there to demand justice. The accused is here. Yeah, sure. I revoked the surety. I told my mom to revoke the surety, not so you can put me back in the slammer. I'm here to address the matter. But no, we have to fabricate more evidence against this man. We did him wrong, and we have to make it sound like he was guilty, and therefore we justify our fuckery against this man. So now the next day, on the 18th, my father had come as my surety, and their court proceeding. You could just hear how bad faith the Crown was trying to advance, right? So now I got released with similar condition. This time around, I would be residing at my place, which at the time was not suitable, because I had been going through renovation. And nonetheless, so basically now from the 18th of September, I'm a free man, so to speak. October 8th, I was given a court date. I have yet to receive a disclosure, by the way. All this, I'm still waiting for a disclosure. So October 8th, I appear by virtual Zoom, because again, that's the default way to appear. If you were in the slammer, there's video, unless you make the request to appear in person. So yeah, I'm exercising my right. I'm going through the rules and the regulation, and to expedite and have a more efficient justice, right? Now I'm going through video. So now I appear by video, and suddenly they have nothing for me, and they're questioning. They're asking me where about I am. It's none of your business. I need my disclosure. I'm free until proven innocent, right? I'm free until proven guilty. I'm supposed to be innocent until proven otherwise, but no, you're guilty until proven innocent in this case. So now then, I'm given a court date on the 18th of December 2024. Again, just to receive my disclosure. It was not about a trial, because before you go to trial, you have to have the disclosure as to why you are being called to the court. So now on the 18th of November, I appear again by Zoom. The Crown makes the contestation point that, oh, well, you should come in person. No, I don't need to show up in person. You can just email me. You can just, we have technology for a reason. And now I was given a second, third, and yet another date on the 18th of December, solely to confirm the receipt of my disclosure. Again, before that day took place, we now from the 18th of November 2024, we have about another month. Meanwhile, some interesting things happen with the School Board of Quebec, where my daughter, she attends elementary school at the South Hall Elementary School. I had just received 3 letters from the Quebec School Board, emails on my personal email, basically on the 11th, the 18th, I believe, and the 26th of November 2024, just before my court on the 18th of December in Ottawa, right, to receive the disclosure. So here I am, basically, I got 3 emails, and I only found out on the 26th of November because that's when I received a call and someone had placed a voicemail by the name of Hannah Altimas. So she is an agent that works for the Western Quebec School Board, and basically the gist of the voicemail is that, well, we tried to reach you by mail 3 times, you have not got back to us, and if you do not get back to us, this means it's automatic green. I did not consent, and what exactly the consent was about. So fundamentally, when I went back to my email and checked, sure enough, I found those 3 emails, and essentially there was a form for me to sign as a father to give parental consent for my child daughter to basically undergo therapy sessions. So as a concerned father, I last I checked, I had an amicable divorce agreement with my ex, before the Superior Court of Justice in Quebec. We had gone through the mediation process and all things, and we understand the rules and the terms and the condition of our amicable divorce agreement. There was a fundamental duty to safeguard and protect this trust. So now what happened, basically, I do not consent. Right away I called my ex and trying to figure out what's happened, and she was oblivious to the letters and the consent form. So I'll do the right thing. I will go to school as a concerned father. I demand information. I demand answers. Only for me to be separated from my child after have been waiting for 20 minutes or so. Well, if it's in your policy that I must be in a private setting, well, I've been here waiting. You should have easily offered me a private room where I can basically wait for my daughter. It does not take 20 minutes for a child to go and be reunited with her father, especially after day school. Normal day school program has ended. So this is after school day program that I'm there waiting for my child to appear. It was around roughly 2:40 or so. She only showed up around 3 o'clock. And that's when I was separated from my child, and I have a recording where I spoke with the daycare technician by the name Miss Plain, and basically I had left the premises of the South Hall Elementary School, and I went home and I wrote my email. This was a Tuesday, November 26th. 27th, Wednesday by 5 p.m. I received an email from the school principal, Monsieur Eric Tremblay, who has selected my daughter. He's not her homeschool teacher. No, he's just a principal. And he has selected my daughter to basically put forward the requisition that my daughter undergoes therapy sessions. Why? So basically, I did not get the email until the next day, Wednesday. I had just requested to basically meet within the next 3 days between the parties involved, that is myself, my ex, the school staff in question, as well as the school principal, just to make sure that we all have an understanding that when I show up to school demanding that I see my daughter, it must happen immediately, not 20 minutes, immediately, no more than 2 minutes, 5 minutes max, right? It does not take a transport vessel to get my daughter from the very school I'm waiting in the front lobby, right? Anyways, so that's basically where we are, and for that reason, on Thursday I went back again to school because the school principal, without hearing my side of the story, unilaterally decides that, oh, I was at fault. Why am I at fault? This is my daughter. You have nothing on me. You're in breach of trust. So what I do, I revoke my consent for my daughter to attend after their school program until I figure out exactly what's happening. And I had a chance to speak with my ex-wife and had a chance to speak with my daughter to figure out what's happening. So I've been pledging now to speak with my ex and the same mediator, divorce lawyer that she had basically chose, as she decided to basically go through the motion of going separate ways. I cannot force you, sure, but you have to respect what we had agreed on. So only for the, Monsieur Marc Gobiel, right? He tells me that I cannot, she needs to come on her own. I cannot force her. So how is it possible that a lawyer tells me, I cannot meet with him and my ex regarding the very agreement that we had signed before the, court, amicable divorce agreement. Now, suddenly, I'm being basically coerced into unlawful, right, agreement to modify my amicable divorce agreement. I mean, what's Party C in this case? The school board suddenly assigns the duty, right, counsel and unsolicited legal advice, legal advice to my ex, and suddenly now on the December the 1st, suddenly they have a restraining order against me. And by the 3rd of December, essentially, the school board had retained their legal counsel to basically alert me of the basically court to be heard on the, believe, 5th, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, we have the record. So by the 3rd of December, so this is the 1st, the 3rd of December, I received this letter from the lawyer, right, the representative of the school board, which my ex is the defendant, and they're the pleading party. And yeah, I was at the Tim Horton, where basically now from December 3rd, I'm about to respond, and I'm at the Tim Hortons, and before you know it, there's confrontation between me and some person I suspect he wasn't illegal, as I confronted the man at almost 2:30 in the morning at Tim Hortons. I'm writing my response back to the school board because I do not consent. You have no reason to come and mend and fuck with otherwise amicable divorce agreement. There's no reason for you to do so. My ex-wife is very oblivious, ignorant of the laws herself. She doesn't understand what is the nature of these therapy sessions, and she does not seem to be, astute and really interested to understanding these, concerns that her ex-husband shares with respect to their common child daughter. And basically, I was, the police shows up, and I was taken to the slammer because now I was threatened to be shot by some illegal. I believe he was an illegal, and I had all the right to be concerned for my safety and for my well-being. And basically, I was threatened to be shot by the very middle-aged black man, Versace, right? I mean, anyways, police shows up, auto police that is, they walk into the Tim Hortons, and essentially they, proceed to talking to me, to ask me questions, and then suddenly they want me to show them my passport. I tell them, listen, I'm not in a position to give you anything. I'm just here telling you what just happened. I don't need to identify, but here it is. If you give me your promise that I would be released, because I realize, perhaps I'm outside past some unlawful curfews, but I'm not in a breach. So it turned out that actually it wasn't a breach. Well, my father had revoked the surety. Hallelujah. Now, yet another, ignorant person of the law who has been entrusted to be as my trusted surety. You have to understand what surety means. You are trusted because if I didn't trust you to do the thing that, you're not going to implicate your own son, right? You're not going to implicate somebody who's innocent, let alone your son, throwing me under the bus because now you are in disagreement of the way I go about my business, because you not once have been a father yourself. You've been perhaps a dad. I respect you as my father, yes, but, when you are going to be ignorant and insisting on your ignorance of the law, I have no reason to listen to what you have to say. I do not consent. I'm an old, male, responsible, independent man. I don't live with you. If anything, you're living with me. So, and that's the duty, that's the care that I, carry with me, because I respect my elders, but also I respect both my father and my mother. But they cannot impose and force their, shit on me, let alone it's unlawful. Go learn. Triangle, municipal rules and regulation, subject to provincial acts of parliaments or legislative assembly, supreme law of the land. And there, supreme law of the land is a Constitution of Canada 1982 and its amendment thereof. So you have to go back all the way to, British North American Act 1867. So go learn something. Perhaps you are very astute with your electrical code. You're a master electrician. You're a, engineer. Right? You're an electrical engineer. You cannot even practice engineering. You're proficient in Canada because of that 1 year experience. Hallelujah to you and your fuckery, right? Because you have not learned. You have not learned to stand and assert for your right as a human being. Now we have schmucks coming from overseas working, right? No problem, because there's a shortage of foreign workers. But not only that, there's fabrication of, events such as, the October 7th attack and basically the genocide that has been taking place in, our homeland, right? You're a Palestinian, last I checked, right? You made the decision to come to Canada some 25 plus years ago because, it was going to be a shit show. You have envisioned that, and I envisioned the same thing here. It's going to be a shit show in Canada and the North America and the West because guess what? Energy, green energy, is here to rob you. And all these regulations are unlawful, And now I have a box. That I claim can generate electricity 24 hours, 7 days, 364 days. The equivalent of $100,000 you pay over 25 years, or if you were to get basically a solar system, that will run you at least $40,000 to $60,000 Canadian. It all depends if you just get a grid tied, kind of like a stock, or you go to basically a hybrid and coupled with an energy solution, right? 40 to 60K. I'm in the industry. I talk about this. 613 Solar is my social media. And in 2023, I had just started posting on LinkedIn, only to be banned, right? Between November, December 2023, all the way to June 2024, basically, I had gone from 0 views to 300,000 views. Unique views, roughly 89 to 90,000 views. So there you go. 1/3 of that, you can assume it's unique views. Well, that's based on the analytics. I have the record. So I built a name for myself, not only in the industry and over 15 years plus of experience across, different market verticals and industry and application domains, right? You have yet to, work in your engineering profession in Canada. Although you're a master electrician, I give it to you. Okay? So there are codes, and you have to understand laws and order. So when you're here, and age is here, your words means nothing, because you have to go and educate yourself before you can speak and reason with your son. That does not make your son wrong, at fault, but now you're complicit. You're implicating your own son. You're throwing me under the bus. Why? Of course I have attitude. I have attitude when you are coming at me with your fuckery. I'll have an attitude. I'll tell you. Mind your own business. If you want to stand with your sons, that is, well, perhaps you should start by educating yourself about the rule of the law and, hierarchy of laws and order. So basically this is the gist of it. And, I've since been released on the 12th of December 2024. Remember the first time, 29th of August.